7:36 here at News Talk 1400, 93.9 FM, CW Greer, DWS Morning Show. And we've got a brand new guest to the morning show today, Jayme Ahlden, who is the president of the Champaign County Association of Realtors, joins us today on the DWS Morning Show. Jayme, good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Well, thanks for coming in today. It's always a pleasure to have guests in the studio, and especially have new guests. And it's been kind of a long time coming. As I was explaining to you off the air, I get the regular updates from the Champaign County Association of Realtors on the sales and so forth that's going on in Champaign County. And I've wanted for quite some time to have you or one of your representatives in here, and we finally have gotten that opportunity. What really has kind of piqued my interest in this month's report that I got for the month of June is the home sales in Champaign County compared to the national average. In fact, when we were setting up your interview, just about an hour before setting the interview up, the national news came out with a report that said for the month of June and a national average that home sales are starting to trend down a little bit on the national level. But here in Champaign County, real estate sales continue to be very strong. So talk a little bit about that this morning, if you would. So. Yeah. June was a big month for Champaign County real estate market. We saw a 21% year-over-year increase in sales, which is a clear sign that local demand is still strong, even with the tight inventory and, elevated rates. But as you said, nationwide, not as much. So great question. Why did Champaign County see this surge, and why isn't the national market? I think that's a perfect example of why we always say real estate is local, because what's happening nationally doesn't always reflect what we're seeing here in the Champaign-Urbana area locally. I actually spoke to a friend of mine who's the president of her local association in the Chicago area, and she mentioned that June is one of their slower months. People are on vacation, the market tends to pause. But it's not that way here. We're a university town, and the academic calendar, I believe, plays a major role. New faculty, staff, grad students, postdoc students, they often need to be moved in before the fall semester. And I'll have buyers say, hey, Jayme, I need to be in a home by August. And if not, I'll have to find a short-term rental, because, we really see this push in the late spring and early summer that is very unique to our market. So the campus or the university definitely, and even Parkland College to a certain extent, that all kind of plays into the fact that for the months that may trend down in other areas, actually trend somewhat up for this area. Yes, exactly. Yeah, more so in our area. Yeah. So I'll also say that our inventory remains low, and that's keeping the market competitive. And homes that are move-in ready and priced well are still selling fast. And we're still seeing multiple offers in several price ranges. In June, the average percent of original list price was 98.8%. Wow. In Champaign County. So meaning, properties are selling for roughly 99% of full asking price. Nationally, 60% of homes sold in less than a month, and locally, our days on market is also about 30 days. So we are keeping pace with that fast-moving trend. Very good. And so with the market like it is for this area, you would think that, and I've been in this market for a long time, working 40-plus years off and on in this market, and I've always felt that this market was a strong market for home sales and real estate. But you would think that maybe at some point this market might get a reputation of, it's always low inventory and always, fast-moving sales. Maybe we ought to look to the other areas rather than the Champaign County area and just commute in. But that's not the case. I mean, Champaign-Urbana and this county has so much to offer. People want to be right in the middle of everything that's going on in Champaign County. And that kind of helps with the home sales as well, because we have a lot, not only the university, but there's just a lot going on in Champaign County to bring people to the market. Very much so. Yeah, Champaign County, it's interesting. Over the years when I follow economists, and I've seen economists speak about the state, and when you see like the rest of the state sales, maybe people declining and not moving into Illinois, it's not necessarily that way with Champaign County. People
as you said, Champaign County's got a lot going on and a lot to provide. So
a lot to offer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and another thing that's on the people's minds when we talk real estate, when we talk home sales specifically right now, interest rates. And
Yes.
of course, it's all over the national news. And I think today the feds are actually going to reevaluate the prime and see where that's going to go, if there's going to be any move there, if the pressure from the White House is helping. But regardless of that, and I'll just take you back because I'm considerably older than you, our first home, which we still live in, our first home that we bought in 1989, we were so happy because we got 10 3/4% fixed for 30 years. And we were just like, wow, because we came through all the 18% rates.
Yeah. And
so I know now sometimes when people talk 6%, they begin to kind of lose their mind a little bit because we have just gone through recently is 2 or 3 years ago, 3%, 4% rates, and now people are losing their mind at 6%. But with that said, I know interest rates are at the top of the mind of everyone. And how are the lending institutions working with home buyers today in terms of getting the best interest rates, and what's going on with interest rates?
Yeah, so that's $1 million question. And predicting the market, it's tricky. But what I can say is that echoing what you said, today's mortgage rates, while higher than, the artificially low rates that we saw a couple years ago,
sure,
they're actually below the long-term average. So over the past 50 years, the average mortgage rates have been about 7.6%. Today, we're closer to 6.6%. And as you said, in the 80s, they even reached 18%. But also, as you alluded to, there's definitely pressure at the national level to bring rates down. That being said, I would not recommend buyers sit on the sidelines waiting, because when rates do drop, we'll likely see a flood of buyers jump into the market, and that increased demand usually pushes home prices up. So yeah, you might get a lower rate later, but the home will probably cost more.
Gotcha.
So if the numbers work for you now, buy now. You can always refinance later, but you won't be able to go back in time to lock in today's price. And here's something that I want to share. The average net worth of a homeowner is nearly 40 times that of a renter. Now, I don't share that to make anyone feel bad about renting. I know that for some people, and depending on their season of life or financial goals, that renting can absolutely make the most sense. It's situational. I share the statistic to encourage people to take a real look at their situation and ask, is now the time to start building equity? Because even small steps toward home ownership can lead to long-term financial stability.
Absolutely. And I was raised as one that my parents always instilled in me, is that it's always better to buy than rent in the long term anyway, and get that equity going. And I've tried to instill that in our daughters as well. But I think you made a very good point there that if we're just holding back from buying only because of interest rates, that's really not a good reason if it's just interest rates only. If there's other reasons with that, that might be something. But and I like the point you made about, and we did the same thing. We went in at 10 3/4 for 30 years. Then within it wasn't very long, the rates took a big drop again. We refinanced at 7.5 for 15 years and saved a ton of money. So the opportunity to get some equity build up and then refinance at home is that's realistic for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. So something interesting is who's buying and how they're paying. So locally, about 26.6% of homes were purchased with cash, which gives those buyers a strong edge. Nationally, 31% of repeat buyers paid in cash, a clear sign that many homeowners are using their equity from previous homes to stay competitive. We're also seeing a shift in who's buying. NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, reports that the median age of all buyers is now 56 years old, with repeat buyers at 61.
Is that right?
Yeah. So people are making big moves later in life, often to downsize, relocate in your family, or age in place.
Well, and I think the statistic that really stands out to me that you bring to the table is 26.6% are paying cash. that blows my mind that it's that great. If it would have been like 6% or 10%, I would have thought, okay, but over a quarter of the home buyers are paying in cash. That's huge.
Yeah.
Right now, that's huge.
And so with that, one big concern is affordability. And first-time buyers made up just 24% of all buyers nationwide this last year, which is the lowest that number has been since the National Association of Realtors started tracking in 1981.
Well, and you bring another good point there that I want to talk about, and I know we've only got 2 or 3 more minutes here, but the young people that 30 and under that are, or 35 and under even, but I'm going to say 30 and under that are looking to buy their first-time home. Interest rates, we've kind of talked about that already, but just the availability of those homes that I would call back in the day starter homes, that maybe was your first home to build equity, then get into your forever home after that. What are we seeing there as far as availability on those types of homes and the ability for that age group to get into those homes? Yeah.
That kind of just echoes why it's so important that we support first-time buyers with education and good financing partners and really just honest advice. Locally, we are still seeing strong interest from this group, but they face a lot of headwinds and challenges, from saving for down payments to competing with cash offers. And affordability is a real challenge, but there are still opportunities in our market. And that's why it really is so important to work with someone who can help you, or who can help them find those opportunities and learn to compete effectively.
So we've covered a lot of ground here in a short amount of time, Jayme, but I think the key and the bottom line we can take away from today's conversation is that Champaign County is still a great place to buy. There's still great opportunities here in Champaign County to buy for all age groups, and still a great time to buy a home if you're sitting on the sidelines and thinking, you just keep looking, find that right home, and it's still a great time to purchase.
I agree 100%. In a market where competition is real and affordability is a challenge, having a trusted guide really makes all the difference, whether you're buying or selling. And remember, it's not just about what's going on nationally, what you see in the headlines. It's knowing what's happening right here in Champaign County, which is where having a local realtor can really help you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Jayme, thanks for coming in today, and we'll have you back again soon, and as we get the updates on the market and so forth, and we'll be glad to get you back here and let you keep us abreast of what's going on, whether we're sellers or buyers, or maybe we're just thinking about making a move. But your information that you bring to the table is very, very helpful, and I appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you so much.
All right. Jayme Ahlden from the Champaign County Association of Realtors, the president of that association, and glad to have her here today on the DWS Morning Show.